Good morning. Good morning. Java Delight will uplift you. Stay tuned. The show is about to begin. Grab your coffee. Stay tuned. This show is about to begin.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Brandon Croucher. Sorry, the background on there. My name is Brandon Croucher. I am the CEO of Delight Cafe, the only cafe that is digital and bringing you a positive morning show, a positive news, and making sure to bring you the queen of South Africa right there. Her name is Miss Ilse. She looks so pretty today. Her hair's all done up. She's got the shoulders showing. She's like, Ilse, how are you, sweetie?
I am very good. I'm very good. Are you happy? Is that a banana in your pocket, or are you happy to see me?
Actually, it's a banana in my pocket. Oh, Ilse, hello. I mean, glad you noticed.
I notice everything.
Let me just go like this. So, guys, while you're here, don't forget, hit the like. Go tell your friends. Hit subscribe. Help us hit. We're going for 400 by the end of the month.
Please. Yeah, like, subscribe. Show some love.
Go to our page, share it to your friends, because truth be told, you know the people in your life that you like, you love, and you appreciate. Why wouldn't you want them to be here with us? So do them a favor, and that way you guys can make fun of Ilse and I with your friends. Bring your friends to the community that wants to help the world become a better place. So Ilse and I were talking, and I was telling her a funny story about what happened to me last night. I worked late last night. So I'm eating dinner. Bob liked the banana in my pocket joke. Good morning, Bob. I'm so glad you're here. We had an amazing episode of The H last night. We got to meet Miss Carly and Rennie and what they're doing.
What? That was mind-blowing. That was a mind-blowing interview to watch, just to hear her story and to see how she just shines love for the underdogs, for the broken ones, for the ones that have nobody. I actually left a comment and said that I was a cocaine addict for 4.5 years, and I wish I had a Miss Carly in my life. It would have made my life so much easier. She's an angel straight from heaven. What an amazing lady.
So we started the interview with Rennie, her number 2, and she's in Illinois, right outside Chicago, and she has a nonprofit that helps the homeless. And she was teaching us about how she got there and why she does it. It was absolutely one of the most astonishing interviews I've ever done. And I've interviewed a lot of people over the last 2 years, and this woman just came out the box. And first question out the box is, why do you care about the human race so much? Because, I mean, I had to ask. Like, she's doing, she feeds 1,000 people a day without doing any fundraising. It is literally all through her own Facebook page. She is looking to expand on that with building onto the building that she's in, and in this, she creates jobs. She does not make you have to be sober when you're to get in there, but you will sober up as you go. And what amazed the hell out of me was the fact that this woman, Miss Carly, she gave her story with such passion, from when she lived in a cardboard box to the drugs that she was addicted to how she'd even sell her body just to be able to get drugs so she could keep going, and then turns it around and went to prison, and how that was where she thought she was going to, that banana did me the hiccups, but that was where she thought she was going to end up. Like, she's like, I just need to accept this. And because at least I get 3 meals a day. I have insurance here. I'm able to not have to worry about drugs here, and I can clean up and be sober. And then
that's why you shouldn't judge people on their choices that they make, because you do not know the options that they were given when they made those choices.
And she has this passion and love. If you guys haven't seen it, last night's episode of The H, it's on Spotify, Apple Music, podcast, all major streaming platforms. It's also on YouTube and Facebook in case you do want to watch the video. Honestly, guys, she was a game changer. Her fundraising is only through Facebook. I'd love for you guys to go click that link that is on the show from yesterday, and please go help support, because she was teaching us about what functional zero means. And I have to be honest, this was the most disappointing thing I've heard in a long time, and I had to Google it because I didn't know what it was. Functional zero means if a person is on the streets, they're hungry, they are on drugs, they're whatever. Can't find it on YouTube, Bob. I got you, buddy. Give me a second. I'll find the link. But she literally has this. She takes the weakest of the weak and says, I want to bless you. I want to help you. I want to change. I want you to see the best in you. And that's just something that we don't see in people so much. And she is out there giving to so many people and doing so many things. But this functional zero is when you're homeless, if they get you into a shelter, they get you into a facility to help, it's counted as that you're not homeless anymore, that you're not hungry anymore, that you're not this anymore. And that pissed me the frick off, because when you think about it,
shocking to hear that. It was shocking to hear
yes.
that is
And
okay, now we've helped you, so now you can just move on over.
Yeah, we put you in this one spot, now you're all good. Good morning, Brian, Tracy. How was your sleep last night, my friend? I'm so glad you got a great night. Bob, here you go, my friend. Why is this all doing this? There we go. Just running slow today. Bob, everybody, here's the link on YouTube for yesterday's interview with Miss Carly, because I would love for you guys to go.
Please.
And that's not me saying it in a light way. Like, for real, guys, this was one of those where at the end of the interview, I turned around and I'm like, yes, yes, yes. How do we help her? So do yourself a favor. Functional zero is not something that should be there, because to say that, oh, hey, we're going to send you here, and then you're all of a sudden going to be all okay, is like that there's nobody homeless anymore because they went to one place. That's not acceptable. That is not an actual good law. That is not a good thing. And, oh, that sounds good. And it's one of these things. Yes, look, one of our guests that was there yesterday, Mr. Stuart Lone Wolf, watched yesterday. She was incredible. And
amazing.
Yep.
I want to. The more we send it out, the more traffic she's gonna pick up. The more people are gonna give her money so she can buy the building next door. She helps the people that people don't want to help because they've made some bad decisions in their life and everything. She helps the broken. She helps the one where people just throw them away and they think they're nothing. So please, if you guys can get as much traffic for her as possible, I mean, change lives.
It's one of these things where Bob says this best, and he's actually volunteered for her. Is the sad thing is that she is within a few yards of two big churches, but neither of them do anything to help her nonprofit. She is literally in the shadows of the steeples doing their job. That is exactly why we organized the Religion of Bob. And I love that saying because that's so true. Like, Bob comes with this joy, this passion. But like Ilse, it's one of these things where I'm more mad at the state. I'm more disappointed now that I know. I did not know the churches were that close. Let's take religion out of this. Let's take the state out of this. Let's look at it as the people that are there that are giving to their time, and somebody that's broken, that maybe didn't know how to live, didn't have the proper upbringing in that. She's saying, don't worry, come here, I got you. And how many times do we need that? I've needed that in my life. I know you've needed that in your life. I know every person that commented has needed somebody to tell them you're worth it at one point in your life, and she's doing that. And it's just, to have functional zero be out there in the state of Illinois where, okay, we provided you the chance to go to a homeless shelter and get yourself cleaned up. You chose to leave. That's not our fault. You're off the list of homeless people. That's
exactly. So yeah, they like, we tried and you didn't do your part. Most of these people, or none of us have asked for the life we were given. None of us.
Mhm.
And again, it comes back to choices that you've made. A lot of people can sit on their high horses and say, "Yo, but it's easy to change your life." You have not been in the trenches if you say that. You have not been broken if you think it's a flip of a switch. My tongue twister. A flip
Blah,
of a
blah, blah.
switch. That you just fix your soul. Your soul, when your soul's broken like that by the hands of people that you didn't deserve, that was supposed to show you how to love, and they abused and used you. It's you don't
I-
just
You
heal
don't.
from it. You don't just, it
You
doesn't just
don't.
take one decision and say, oh, okay, off I go, I'm gonna be all good and squishy inside. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't.
I'm gonna be all good and squishy. But you're right. It's not like it's like telling someone who suffers from depression or is bipolar
Snap
or
out of
even
it.
is
Yeah.
yeah, hey, you need to just snap out of it. You got to keep going. It doesn't work like that. The
Snap.
minute you tell someone like me, hey, snap out of it, it pushes me the opposite direction and makes me know you don't understand where I'm at. I was talking to someone very, very close to me yesterday, and this person is not someone that you would associate with anxiety and depression. And they reached out and said, hey, I really need to talk to somebody. And he never reaches out to me like this. So I knew this was serious. He explained to me that he feels like everybody around him is telling him get over what he's feeling, but he's completely empty inside right now. And his dad passed away, his stepmom passed away at the same time. They were in a car accident, and he was just broken, and he felt empty. And this man is someone who is an amazing man of like faith, love, everything, and he is struggling. And people around him are like, you just need to get over it. You need to keep going. And he calls me and he's like, you're not going to tell me that. I'm like, no, let's talk. What's up? And and this is not me praising myself. This is just saying I want people to know you can give love without actually giving of yourself. All I did was give him an hour of time of letting him vent to me. We cried together. And at the end, I let him know what an amazing soul he is. And that if he needs another time to call, we can. I just didn't want him to feel like he's not heard. All he wanted to do was vent. He wanted to talk to me about things that really were bugging him and know that someone would just listen. And that's all Miss Carly does. And that's what like made me really fall in love with this woman last night is like, there's so many people in this world that are hurting, and we need more people like all of us to be able to share that and get out and spread that unconditional love, which Veronica, I'm assuming this is your friend.
That is one of my soul sisters. I got to see her face for the first time in a couple of months. We actually video called all four of our sisters. We like sisters. We video called just before the show. We all are going through so much. Sorry, also with abuse and being brought down, and we just had to speak to each other because we tell each other that we're worthy. We tell each other that we believe in, because we are all that we have. We are all that we have. We have each other, and we have this community to break the cycles where people think they can
Say
just
it. Don't say it from here. Don't say it from here. I love you. That's why I'm picking on you. Say it from here, Elsa. You are proud of you having Veronica there. Veronica, by the way, great name.
I'm
My sister
telling
has the
you.
same name, spelled the same way and everything. And she has red hair, and I think
Shout
you have
out
red
to the
hair by that.
sisters. I love them to
Shout out.
death. So
Love the
a lot
bees.
of us, and a lot of us are going through it, and a lot of women don't know they're being abused. They don't realize it. We actually spoke to one of our friends, and she said something. She says, but he's not allowing me to leave. And I was like, excuse me? Nobody has the right to keep you anywhere without, you
Your
can't do
choice.
that.
You have to know who you
can't
are.
you can't make the situation unbearable and expect someone to stay in it. You can't use your ugly and your vindictive personality and put the fear of life into a woman with a child because you don't want her to leave. How do
We
you
have
protect
free
her?
will.
How do you protect her? Where's her free will? Where's her human rights to be
So
happy and to be treated with
where,
respect?
but that's where you come in. Instead, you're not just sitting there
Pick
and
them up
listening to
and
it. You're
tell
there
them.
as a friend to help them and push them through. And I don't mean push like, hey, get out of it. I mean, you're there, you listen,
No.
and then you turn around and say, hey, how can I help you? And if they don't have an answer for that, oh, they're not going to let me. They're not looking at the truth. I like Stuart Lone Wolf's comment here. If you have never made a bad choice, you have never chosen to live your own life. And I think that's phenomenally said. That is well said. So speaking of making a bad choice, Ilse and I were having a fun conversation before everything today. And last night I worked really late. And I was up till like 11:30 just typing and getting emails and catching up on things still. And it just business, you know? I go downstairs. My mom is all like, hey, I made you dinner. I'm proud of you. You're doing really well. I watched your show. I love the H, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, thanks, Mom. I love you. She's like, there's a pot roast on the oven. I'm like, all right. So I go and get it. I get myself the pot roast. I'm tired. My parents watch the same shows over and over. They always watch police shows. I don't know why. It's either NCIS, NCIS Los Angeles, NCIS Las Vegas, NCIS CSI, CSIS NCIS. There's so many different, right? It's all the same police show, and it's repetitive, but they love it. Oh, my God. So for me, I'm like, on that. But I wanted to spend time with my parents. So they have a brand new puppy that everybody's seen a little bit here and there and all that. And she's asleep next to my mom. So I go over to the other couch and I sit down and I'm eating. And I'm eating. And I am just loving this dinner because I needed food in me and I'm feeling good. I go to stand up and I'm debating, do I want seconds or not? All of a sudden I smell something. I look around. My butt cheek is wet. And I'm like, why is my butt cheek wet? Did I poop myself and I didn't know it? So I touch my pants and I smell my hand and I'm like, oh my God, it smelled so bad. I turn around. It is the most perfectly little poop right on the couch. I ate my entire dinner sitting in poop. And I'm like, oh my God, my mom and dad thought it was so funny. That was last night. This morning, my mom is still laughing about this. And my mom, when she laughs hard enough, she cackles. So all of a sudden, you hear my mom walking the dog and you hear I'm like, what are you laughing at? She's like, you sat and poop all night. I'm like, I didn't sit in it all night. I sat and poop and ate my dinner. She goes, I know. And she just keeps laughing at me on this. So I guess that's the universe's way of telling me I'm the shit. That's all I got. You know,
it's all about perspective. It's all about perspective.
I'm just like, all right, I'm the shit. And the universe is like, here you go. Brandon and the wet butt cheeks OnlyFans account. Wait a minute. This has not changed. Bear, Care Bear. I have a feeling I actually have an OnlyFans, but I don't know I'm on it.
You don't even know it. Might have a million followers already following your Care Bear ass, and you don't even know it.
That would be kind of fun. Like having a million OnlyFans being like, guess what, guys? Here I am. Brandon regressing to being a baby. Right? My inner child. Thanks, guys. I literally felt my pants, and I'm like, so it's not near my butt, like where I would have to worry, but it's like my cheek was wet. And my mom is like, what happened? And I turn and I look. Nobody could smell anything. And then all of a sudden, when I get up, the whole house is smelling. Like dad's like turning fans on, spraying things. Mom's walking the dog outside. He said poop. I'm like, God, I love my family. I'm eating breakfast this morning. My mom looks over at me and just, I'm like, stop. I love you, but stop.
I'm the same. If something's funny, if something gets me to laugh like that, every time I think about it, it will just be genuinely funny. And it might be not as funny to the other people anymore, but I will laugh the same time literally every time because it is when you get me there, you get me there. That's why we always play pranks in our house. We try and get, like, my son will sit and play movies, and then I'll play games, and then I'll go to him and pretend to kiss him on the cheek, and then I'll lick him from down here right up because they hate it, but like all over the face. And it goes like, no, Mom, don't do that. So last night, I did that yesterday afternoon. So last night, I'm on my way home from after the show because we started the episode, the season 2 for Stone Daisies. So we had our interview, and he says, okay, bye, Mom, and he comes to kiss me, but he knows it's bye, so I'll go in, and he waited the whole night, and he licked me all over my face before he got into the car and left. I'm like, you're such a little ass.
Did you see Jessica said hi? Hi, Jess. It is Thursday. We're glad you passing through. I hope your week's been going well. I've been seeing you posting. You have your event coming, and actually, next week is the Jacksons, one of my favorites. I love the Jacksons show. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Oh, I am for you. Never meant to make your Ilse cry. All I know is she likes lots of dimes.
Ilse cries by herself. Nobody makes me do anything. Not even cry.
Look at Stuart's comment. Mom's gonna start leaving Hershey kisses on the couches to trigger me now. You have no idea how much my mom would do that. Actually, I'm gonna have some fun with this. You ready? So that's how I proposed to my first wife. Is I took a bunch of Hershey kisses, I threw them across the floor, I put a dozen roses on the bed, sprinkled flowers everywhere. And then I wrote her a note that said, now that I've kissed the ground you've walked on, will you be my wife? And that was how I proposed.
Oh, that is so awesome.
It was creative, but it's been done by other people, so don't let it get to you. Boom. And then, ready to light heads? Good. This is you, Ilse. I'll stay back. You read it. Tell Ryan how you feel.
Today's recipe is braised oxtail in olive oil, paprika, Malbec reduction sauce. I don't know what that is, but it sounds amazing. Grits, fried eggs, whipped potatoes, sauteed Brussels sprouts, oysters, oyster mushrooms, and microgreens. Oh, now I'm hungry again.
I just got a text message from. I got a text message saying our network is being labeled restricted. I don't know why. We're just too good. We are just bringing too much positivity out there, guys, that we are being restricted on Google's Wi-Fi. So do me a favor, share with your friends, and don't let Google win this battle. We need to spread the positivity, showing that you're not going to hold positivity down. We're going to break through, and we're going to change the world by being the light that we all know are inside us. Now, Mr. Ryan, I'm going to come back to you here for a second. Oh, my God, that sounds delicious. Like I was drooling. I don't even want to eat my banana right now because, it sounds so good. Shut up, you are perverted with that one, you punk. I don't want to eat my banana. Elsa's like,
it's my dark side. It's my dark side.
You and my mom. CK, it is wonderful to see you. It is Thursday. Today is a great day. Guys, the weekend is less than 48 hours away.
Did this week not fly past?
Honestly, I'm so proud of myself this week. Look, I never self-praise. I never self-praise.
Why not?
I don't accept compliments. I don't self-praise well. But I literally...
Self-praise,
so,
please. Show these people how to do it.
This is not me trying to like toot my own horn. No, nothing. I stopped chasing and I started believing in myself. I wake up every morning and I journal and I actually email CK Ford what my journal is. And then she goes through and reads it and helps me be the best me I can be by saying, hey, look what you're saying here, but then you're saying the opposite of yourself here. And she highlights it and she points these things out for me. And it's one of these things where the moment I decided to go sober, I felt that was the right thing to do. And I've been pushing myself every day. I am more than a week of no weed. And I will be happy to tell you, it's not always easy. Because I do enjoy that feeling. And that is why I know it was something I needed to reset. It's if I can, with the coffee and everything, yesterday I felt like my body was pushing so much negative out, and I just kept working. And what was amazing to me was the amount of emails I got of people, like a grocery store I've been chasing for years. All of a sudden I got an email that, hey, when can we sit down for a meeting? And weed is, it's not bad, but when you're, so how can I own a CBD company? But I love you that you're here, Love Truth. Like, how can I own a CBD company and then tell everybody when I get stressed, I'm going to go smoke weed? Like, it doesn't make sense. And that's my fault. And that's me not believing in my product. And I had to be able to do it. So I've been adding my CBD anytime my anxiety starts to get in to help me rebalance, find my calm, and find my delight in life. Find my calm, balance, and delight. CBD. And I am here, like, trying to understand why I became so needy to this plant. And I'm seeing the difference in my life. I'm seeing the benefits of where I'm going. I'm seeing the strengths of where I'm going. And it's only been, what is today, the 7th, the 8th? It's only been a week.
It's the 7th.
So I've gone 7 days now without any cannabis in my well, CBD, but like without anything else. It has literally been me functioning. Go ahead.
I have not smoked a cigarette or smoked. I've cut down. I've only had one cigarette for today.
That's right.
From smoking 20 to 25 smokes a day. I've actually cut down on my weed intake as well. So I'm trying to lessen it. And I haven't had any coffee. So
what has been your biggest struggle with not smoking cigarettes? Has it been the not having something to touch your lips? Has it been the
like smoking. I like blowing things out, blowing the smoke out of my mouth. I've always liked smoking.
Is it the feeling?
I don't know. I think it's because of the breathing. I actually read up on it. When you breathe, you feel present. We've learned over the couple of weeks now, the people that we've interviewed, how important breathing is. And I think when I'm in a stressful situation, I'll light a cigarette, or if my mind wanders, I'll light a cigarette, and it brings me back to present because I breathe it in, I feel it in my lungs, and I blow it out. So it's literally like I use it as a crutch just to breathe, understand, but just to feel my breath, because my mind's all over. I mean, my mind always moves at 1,000,000 kilometers per hour. It's always busy. It never shuts down unless I go and I sit, okay, let's just close down. From when I wake up in the morning, I start thinking, and I need to keep busy, and I need to do something, and I need to put my energy in things that changes my surroundings and help people, because otherwise I just feel, and I think that's got a lot to do with the smoking. I've been smoking. I'm 38. I'm 39. I keep forgetting my age. I'm turning 40 in December. And I've been smoking since I was 13 years old. So I've been smoking.
You've been smoking for a while.
For a little bit. I have smoked before. It's more a mental thing. And I'm trying to get over that mental thing. So I've been doing actually very well, trying to control the thoughts without cigarettes, and then breathing and not letting it worry me or change my mood or whatever. So that is I've actually done very well on that. So I'm going to praise myself for that, because I know how I get. I just want to smoke. It's one of the worst addictions that I've ever had.
But you know what, though? You're facing it head on. And so the thing that's been helping me, and I'm being dead serious with this, has been my writing. So yesterday I wrote to myself and I asked myself the question, why do I feel I need this when anxiety hits? Why do I feel I need this when I'm on the road? And I mean that as in, like, I'm not smoking an entire joint while driving, but I'll take a one-hitter and I might hit it because somebody cuts me off and I'm rather not chase them off the road. And that's me being honest. I think it's just weird as hell. And I would rather be able to find that way to calm myself without needing that hit. And I had to ask myself where that trigger was in me that I'm doing this. Why am I doing this? And then I had to carry packs of delight because I tell people you could carry it with you everywhere. It's in my tea. You guys just saw me open it. Why do I do that? Because I believe that plant really has beneficial things, but if you don't know what you're putting in your body, you're going to affect yourself. And I'm very grateful for the team of people and the community we have because Bob has been picking up the slack for me, buddy. And like, you are a team player, brother. I am so grateful.
I'm telling you, we do everything together. Some stay sober and some to pick up the slack.
Stuart says he has a good audiobook if you want to quit smoking. And after I complete my month alcohol-free, cigarette is next. Stuart, we are here for you, brother. We are here for you because quitting smoking, alcohol-free, see, alcohol has never affected me. And I mean that, do you handwrite letters on your computer? I can. I have my computer's touchscreen. I have a pen that I can write on and color and draw and blah, blah, blah. But I handwrite in a journal and then I retype it into my computer. And that way, if something comes up different when I'm typing it, I feel a different energy. Maybe I didn't feel while writing. I'm able to do that. But thank you for asking, Britt. Running cars off the road while listening to Metallica, Kill 'Em All, is my favorite sport. So
Even mine.
Mine is Offspring. It's Offspring. Lena, hi, sweetie. Thank you for joining us today. Mine is Offspring because they have, I can't think the song. They go, fuck that shit, bitch, eat a motherfucking dick you out of, and I'm like, oh, that's what I need to hear when I'm running people off the road. And I don't want to run someone off the road because it's just mean. And I knew that I was hitting a point where, like, if Bob's picking up the slack, I'm amazed Bob knows how to turn a computer on because I smoked a lot. I was known for being the guy that could smoke a lot. And the day I said I was going to go sober October, I remember... Sorry, there was a group chat that I know Bob's talking about. Joe Biden passed Brian on the truck. They're going opposite ways yesterday. And Brian was texting all of us, and he was like, I should have been able to do something like honk at him, give him a finger. I was dying. I'm like, that's funny.
I could have.
Whether you believe in the president or not.
Say that out loud. Maybe I agree with Brian, but I won't say it out loud. I don't want the FBI on my ass.
I know, we got to watch it. They're already limiting who can watch us now, apparently.
I'm just a girl from South Africa. Don't mind me. I'm not dangerous.
They're going to be like, how does a company with the name Delight that wants to be positive bring in a... Yeah. Ask God to redeem in time, Brian. That's funny. Funny as hell. So, Ilse, what do you have on tap this weekend? What are you going to be diving into? What are you going to be getting into? Who are you getting into? What's going on? And actually, who's getting into you would be if I wanted to make that perverted. But I'm not.
Well, so we shot... Nobody. We recorded the first episode for the second season of Stone Daisies with a nameless dread, which was such an amazing experience. It was just, you have to watch it. It's premiering on Monday. We got a new intro. We changed some things on our channel. So Mr. Kyle Buerta, the very talented, he's very, very talented, just quickly played on his guitar a little intro for Stone Daisies, and it sounds so amazing. And
I love it.
And he's doing like a little recap video of all the bands that we've done that we can start posting with our little riff that he's playing. Oh, it is so... I'll send it to you. Okay, no, I'm not going to send it. It's a surprise. You have to watch. But in any case, this boy is so talented. And we're just excited. And
when does this episode air?
On Monday, 8 o'clock our time. Yes, 8 o'clock our time. And then what happened? Oh, and then Sunday or Saturday, we are doing our launching video for Branch Isole Productions. And they... Look, Mom, no hands.
I'm going.
Yeah, so we're recording our introduction video for Branch Isole TV, music production, and the Cigar Lounge podcast. It's just such an amazing feeling. You guys can then see the whole setup. It's such an amazing atmosphere. The guy that's busy doing it also went to speak to investors today. So so many things are happening, and it's just amazing. It's just amazing. And when you said you woke up this morning and all these things are happening, it's because we shifted.
Yeah,
We do not
we did.
chase, we attract. What belongs
Yes.
to us will simply find us. We're standing in our truth, standing in our worth, knowing what we deserve, because we have to fight through these demons, and we have to fight through these addictions, and we have to fight through these pain and trauma that was caused by the hands of others, and sometimes people that we love, and sometimes by the hands of ourselves as well.
Yeah.
And that is what we need to heal, and that is why we need to get this messages out and just
Amen.
change
Amen.
lives, like Miss Carly.
Did you?
Just change lives.
So, did you see this comment? The challenge I'm doing this month is called October. It's just where I try to get through every day of October. And Britt Brett actually reached out to me recently, and she's really had a tough month. This month has hit her very hard, and I just want to send her some good energy and vibes. If you guys can make sure she knows that she's appreciated. She's going through some tough times right now, but just like anybody, when you're going through a tough time, you want the good vibes, and you want to know that you're just being supported and you are thought of. Just send her a message, not a dick pic, a message, and make sure she knows that she's appreciated and all that. It's funny that I used that joke there because I just had to. I was fortunate enough to recognize that my alcohol consumption was becoming a problem. It was a tough revelation to face, but the alternative would have been tougher path for everyone. Stuart Lone Wolf, the self-intuitiveness on this is astonishing to me, and I'm so proud of you. I am so proud of you. I commend it to you. Like, keep up the banana make me burp. Keep up the great work and keep pushing forwards, just like everybody else. I'm telling you guys, we're changing the world one step at a time by you looking inside yourselves and making yourself better. So I have a question for you, Ilse. What bear is considered the most condescending of all bears?
A koala bear? I don't know. Koala?
A panda.
I know. I like it.
I knew you would. I baited you so well on that one.
That's going to be my go-to party trick. I love it. Thanks.
Oh my God. I was like, I'm going to bait her on this one. So, a panda. So, Ilse, have you looked into our guest at all today? We have a pretty amazing guest coming on today.
I did. He writes the most beautiful poems, and on YouTube he has a channel where he does open mics and reads is it prose? How do you pronounce it? It's prose. We call it prose. We call it prose. Prose. Is it prose?
I call him, so his name is Branch Isole. And he's an author, a poet, and storyteller. He writes about strength of choice to change consequences, which I think is pretty unique that that's what we're talking about today. So a circus panda. Britt, this is like me not accepting a compliment or me not complimenting myself. Like, I know you have to find them in yourself, but when you know that you have people that are going to support, that want to see you succeed, that's what we're here for. It's not saying we're just giving them to you. We're saying sometimes we're an empty cup, and some people can give a little bit to just help you fill up a little bit. That's all it is. Sending you love and positivity and news, Circus pandas. So loved. So, Ilse, have you ever done panda? So, have you ever written poetry?
I have not. I don't. Let me not say that. I am good with words. I can talk, but I always believe that my writing is not something that someone will read. So I've never actually written anything on a page as a poem or something like that. or music or stuff. I resonate with that, and I love hearing things like that and reading quotes and poems and all that. But I am not a very good poet. I'm a poet and I don't even know it, and I rhyme all the time.
I love it. I love it. So I used to write poems, and it was in school. Don't think anything special of me. And I never thought I was good at poetry, but it's kind of fun to actually sit down and just get that creative mind going. So a question I'm going to be asking Branch is, well, first, I want to know how he got his parents had to name him Branch, but like, is that like a family name, or like, because I don't know the meaning of the name Branch. Or like, did you I hope he's not watching for this joke. Did you fall down the ugly tree and hit every branch around the way? And you're like, shit, we got to change his name to Branch now. He got beaten with the ugly branch. Like, I don't think he's ugly. I looked at his picture. I'm just having fun. I've just never known anybody with that name. And I was very curious about.
Very unique.
Yeah, I want to know the name of where the heritage comes of it. So it's that way you don't think I'm being a jerk. I'm just being a somewhat jerk. And
you little asshole.
I have the t-shirt. Oh, yeah. By the way, so after my shower yesterday, after I sat in the poop, I showered and all that, and I had to change my shirt. I had to wear my big shirt. Like my F shirt, F this shirt. My mom comes down, I go downstairs, and she's like, I see you changed. And I'm like, yeah, F this. And she looks at me and she's like, I just think you could do a week of that shirt if you could. And I go, I wish I had 7 of them. I'd wear it everywhere and point at people when I see what they're looking at me. Wait a minute, what is this? My friend gave birth in her car on the way to the hospital. Her husband named the kid Carson. If that's not the best dad joke of all time, we can't be friends. I love it. Yep. Watch Longmire. One of the characters is named Branch. I watched Trolls, and Justin Timberlake's character's name is Branch. And if you watch Trolls on any extracurriculars, I'll tell you what, you realize they're telling our kids about drugs. Maybe it's just because I was on drugs at the time, but it definitely didn't go well.
Anything's possible.
The universe is telling us things. Branch from a tree of river, the first thing seen in the morning. Jaybird, I love you, bro. You are such a good guy.
I have not did that. Jaybird gave me homework, or the same homework, and it's as if as soon as I want to sit down and do it, then something happens, and then I might have to look for time to do it again.
How about we make sure we do it together? Because he gave me homework too that I haven't finished. I've been doing my company, so we'll do that together today.
Okay, cool. Let's do that because I have nothing after the show. I'm probably going to bed at 3 o'clock again because I've got all this energy after the show and I don't know how to.
Good. We're gonna put. Yeah, you do. We meet and we talk, and so Stuart Lone Wolf wrote something very nice here, and I'm always attacking Brit Brett because she's a brat. Will you read this one for me, Ilse?
Brit. We might not know each other, but just know you are someone. You are here, and you create conversation in a positive way. You are amazing. I want to add to that. You are amazing. Stand in your power. Find the love within you. It's there. You are love.
I don't even know. Longmire, is this on Netflix, Amazon? Tell me where I can find this so I can watch this.
Longmire or Longmire?
I'm going Longmire, M-I-R-E, Mire.
What is it about? Because they mention it a lot, and I also want to know what it's
Porn.
about.
Porn.
Is it porn? Midget porn?
It's midget porn with a little.
Therefore, the name Longmire because it's midget porn.
Well, all of them are tripods. They just go like this and they lean. Thank you, Brian Tracy. It's on Netflix for everybody.
Need to watch. I'll go check it out.
So I have another dad joke, but I don't want to read it till tomorrow because it's for Bob. So I'm going to save my other dad joke till tomorrow. Just because it's a modern day sheriff in Wyoming. That's what Longmire is about. And then I am a brat. And then Bob says, I finally figured out how to use the digital gift card Jaybird. I was almost broke, so I forced myself to figure it out. And now you get to teach Ilse and I, Bob. Look what you're going to do. Look what you're going to do. You're going to teach us how to be able... Longmire, not mirror. Sorry, guys. Longmire. Longmire. I got to go cut my Longmire.
My Longmire.
So this weekend, right? So this weekend, there's a lot going on around the city of Cleveland, and that the Brown. He's like, oh, why do I deal with Brandon like this? I see him giving me the look. He'll be sitting there and he'll go. I just see it right now. So I love the fact that I'm back. Oh, Brian gave us 3 headbutts right now, 3 head smacks. Wow, 1, 2, 3. It's the only show I've watched this year. See, I watched Lucifer, and that's been my show for I'm in the middle of season 2 right now, and I don't watch a lot of TV, so 1 episode a day is a lot for me. And I then again over the last weekend I watched a whole season, so I shouldn't say that, but it's one of those things where that's been mine, but now I know to go get this next one on. I didn't really figure it out. Robert, the rocket scientist, did. Okay. Well, then Robert is coming on with Bob tomorrow to teach us how to do this, okay? I think that's the only fair way to get this done. But this weekend's going to have a lot of things happening. I actually am looking at a place that I might be moving, I'm going to be moving. I'm going to be looking at I'm going to be reaching out to a whole bunch of businesses over the weekend. And this weekend is going to be my youngest sister's coming in town. And I'm glad I get to spend some time with her because this month hasn't been good for her either. So being around family is going to be essential. And she is a pistol and a half. And she's me, but meaner. She's the mean Brandon. And the truth is, she really is an amazing soul, but just a bitch at times. And I say that like I would say to her face. So don't think I'm saying anything mean. And she knows it. It's like Brit Brat calling herself a brat. But I truly am excited because I get to spend time with family. I get to relax a little bit. Tomorrow, my mom and dad are going to go see Van Gogh. And they're going to this whole 3D immersive Van Gogh exhibit where from floor to ceiling, everything is Van Gogh. I know. So they're super excited for that. And then the rest of the weekend's just me time. So for the me that I'm going to be loving on myself this weekend is I'm going to I'm going to the gym and doing an intense, heavy workout. Novelty. Just answering questions in the middle of talking. I'm going to be spending time with Brandon. I'm going to be taking time to look at what the next week has. I'm going to be planning how I can better myself and make myself into a better person. And I'm going to look at another week of being sober, where that's going to be my focus of now my company is heading in a direction. I'm not chasing, I'm actually attracting. And I want to push that in such a great way that I literally am like, I can't wait. I'm going to be spending time with Brit Brat, or maybe Brit Brat spending time with Brit Brat. I don't know. At the end of it all, I'm looking forward to the weekend and resetting because this week has gone by fast. Has this week gone by fast for you also?
Extremely fast. Last week I was having a conversation about this podcast, and in 3 days we are shooting our promo video for that, and we've had a couple of weeks off with Stone Daisies as well. And I'm lucky my daughter lives in Pretoria with her boyfriend, so my son and Kyle gets along like a house on fire. So he actually asked, when is Louis coming to visit again? So they came to fetch Louis last night, so he sleeps there for the whole week. So I only see him next Wednesday. So I've got my whole house to myself for the first time in a very long time. I was supposed to see my little girl this week, but because I'm working on Saturday, I did say I'll try and see her on Sunday, because now I have to try and get a lift to go there. Because her dad says it's too far for him to drop her off by my house. So we're not making any waves. We'll make a plan to get to her. Um, so I only see her for about a day and a half, and then until next Wednesday, then I'm on my all by myself. I can give myself some me time. I started to hula again. I got my hula from my daughter, because I don't go to the gym, but I do something every day. So I go for a walk. Brandon, if you want to soundboard or flowchart stuff, let me know.
So
What?
business stuff. Wait, that's flowchart and soundboard
Yeah.
is hula, hula, hula.
It's my
Those
hula
are,
sister.
I love it. Jay, yes, I will take you up on that. I'm going to message you this afternoon. I have a few things after the show I got to knock out, and Ilse and I have to make sure we reconnect to take care of the stuff you've sent us. Did you see that Brian Tracy's offering a free preview of his new book? You could PayPal him $99.95 right now for the Pushing for Attraction, the name of my new book. PayPal me $99.95 right now for your free preview. That doesn't make it free. That's $100. Like, I read it, the first time I read it, I was like, oh, 99%. And then I was like, wait a minute, that's not free. Ilse, this is the way we live. So, Ilse, can you tell me a little bit about what you're going to do this weekend for yourself now that you know you're going to be alone?
I am going to cook myself the most delicious food and just eat and be happy.
Eat, be happy, be merry, love
Whatever
on
makes
myself.
me happy this weekend, I'm gonna do. I usually just go with the flow. I don't like, when it comes to me, to put myself in a box. So whatever pops up and makes me happy, it might be I might be surprised by a friend or one of my girlfriends, and we'll video call for 2 or 3 hours, and that's my me time where we chat to each other and stuff. So
Love it.
yeah, so that's how we focus. We set out times to talk about our spiritual path, where we're on, what we're dealing with at the moment, give each other advice, and that is our me time, connecting with each other there. And then from there, I just make myself happy, do the things
I
that I
love it.
like.
I love it. I love it. So, our guest today, would you mind reading his bio? And he should be here any minute. And see, Stuart is my soul brother. You guys both got it. All proceeds are going to Bob and Miss Carly. Great minds, Mr. Brian. All right, go ahead, Elsa.
This is Java Day. Ugh, where am I reading from now? I'm so sorry. Today, I zoned out for a second. Today, squirrel. Today's guest is Branch. Is it Isole? Isole. I think it's.
That's how I said it. Yeah.
Yes, that's how I think you'd pronounce it. Author, poet, and storyteller. Branch Isole writes about strength of choice to change consequences. I love that. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Known worldwide for his contemporary short story prose, Branch shares readable, relatable stories that reveal emotions and issues often experienced but not always voiced. He posts a thought for today and different stories at www.branch and on his YouTube channel. Branch graduated from Texas State University, did postgraduate work at University of Houston, and holds an Oxford MA Theology degree from Trinity Bible College and Seminary. So is it seminary? Seminary.
Seminary, like Bible college.
Oh wow! He
Yeah.
makes me think of Uncle Bob.
You said squirrel. The squirrels came.
You see,
I'm sitting at Fairport Harbor Beach. A bee came in my car, and I just had to jump out of my car in a crop top sports bra, and I feel violated.
That is some
moment
right there.
Right? Like, I thought mine was bad sitting in like what I was sitting in last night. Now I see Brit Brat, like that makes me feel much better about me. So today we have Mr. Branch coming on. It's gonna be a interview. Poetry has always been unique to me. And I mean that in the sense that I like poetry. I see the connection with it, but I always felt like I'm distant from it. Like I don't actually connect with it. It's one of these things like I want to know how to understand poetry better. And I think Branch is going to not just come in here. I know he's going to teach us stuff, but I love how he phrases the one section about how he writes about the choice to change consequences. And that's what we've been talking about this morning, is how our consequences of what we do, how we have the choice to change them. As you and I were talking before the show, we have things that have happened in our life, and it's our choice on that. And I think between the poetry and understanding where Branch has found his inner fire and his light that he brings to people with his poetry is going to be an amazing thing for us to learn about. So if anybody has something they'd like to actually have us ask Branch, don't hesitate to write it in the comments now so we can make sure we get him. We make sure that we have you seen and that your comments are there. He's going to be on with us in the next 4 minutes. He's backstage. He's got the most awesome Hawaiian shirt on. I wish I would have thought of wearing Hawaiian as well so we could have matched. So, guys, make sure you get your comments in. Oh, my God, Squirrel says, Violated by Bees, my second book to be released, but after the first one. Oh, my God. And then Stuart says bees have all
I like
fun.
that name.
Right? I know, violated by bees. So, Ilse, with today being a unique day, having everything we've had going on, what is going to make you smile today to get everybody excited for the next part of our show?
Happy faces, happy people realizing that everything is always a lesson. If you can let go of the outcome that you see for something and just believe that you deserve what you have been asking for, things just move and it just shifts. Everyone listening and everyone that out there deserves love. That's what will make me happy. If everybody else is happy and they know that they're worthy, doesn't matter where you are, what you look like, how you talk. It's got nothing to do with that. It's everybody has something to give. Everybody has that love to give because they deserve it. So love yourself first. Know that you deserve that love, and you deserve God's love or the universe's love or your higher power's love, because essentially everything is just one, and we're all just love. That's all we are. We are just love, energy of love.
I love how you're phrasing that. Today is the 7th of October, which means there's 23 more days in this month. Yeah, because there's 30 days in October. Is there 31?
It's Halloween, baby.
Oh, yes, there is 31. So there's 24 days left. That means you have 24 days to connect, look inside, and truly find your best you. Because 2021 is coming to an end in just a few months. And you can already start looking into yourself and seeing the best. We've already been building a community for this past few months, and we've been looking into each other and building up the best. So I am super glad you guys are here. I am super glad that everybody is wanting to get the best out of themselves and build the best community. And guys, I want you to know, keep changing the world with us. We'll be back in 1 minute after a word from our sponsors.
Hi, my name is Brandon, and over the past year, the Delight Cafe team and I have traveled across the U.S. researching this rapidly growing industry of CBD products. What we have found throughout the industry were products that were inconsistent in dosage and used ingredients that weren't even lab tested. Products with chalky textures, bitter aftertaste, and worst of all, confusion among the CBD consumers. That's why we created Delight Cafe. A 15 milligram, lab-tested, all-natural, water-soluble hemp CBD powder pack. It's odorless, colorless, and tasteless. Add it to your favorite drink of choice, wherever, whenever, on the go. Quickly find your calm, your balance, your delight when you need it most.
And we're back, and we have the one, the only, Mr. Branch. Let me give you the big screen here. Boom, there we are, sir.
Boom.
How are you doing today, Branch?
Good morning, Brandon. How are you doing? I've been loving your show. I love the positivity that you guys are broadcasting to the world.
Thank you, sir.
True.
Hi. From South
we're
Africa.
much on the same
Hi.
thing. Hey, Ilse. I love your accent.
Thank you so much. I like yours as well.
Where are you from, Mr. Branch?
Where am I from, or where do I live?
Let's do both now that you're going to ask it like that.
Well, I currently live in Central Arkansas, believe it or not.
Okay.
One of the best kept secrets in the country.
Yes.
We moved here about 5 years ago after my wife retired. We lived on the East Coast, but prior to that, we lived in Hawaii for a number of years.
Okay, so
You lived in Hawaii?
Hawaii? What island?
Yeah, we lived on the island of Maui.
Oh, my favorite island. I've done the road to Hana. I've been there before. Maui is by far my favorite. Was this a job thing, or are you just like really that cool that you're just like, I'm gonna go live in Maui for a little bit?
Well, I don't know about being cool, but it wasn't a job. I just I was in the Los Angeles area, and it just got too dense and too out of control, and so I just thought, well, the next best spot, go west, young man, and I ended up in Maui. I lived there for 12 years. Met my wife there, and it's been quite an adventure.
I have to ask, Maui to Arkansas, those are very different. Like, one is you can go surfing, the other you go four-wheeling. How did you choose this?
Well, quickly, when we lived in Maui, we lived in Hana, since you know the road to Hana, and that's when I wrote my first book. And what I found over those years was we were too far away from, well, two reasons. My children were on the mainland, and they're adults, but they started having children, and they kept saying, oh, we're going to come and visit. We're going to come and visit. And of course, wrong time of the year, kids are in school, can't get away from the job, all those kind of things. So when we decided to leave, I had a book tour that started in Los Angeles and ended on the East Coast. So for 10 months after we left Maui, we traveled across the country on this book tour. And at the end of the tour, we ended up on the East Coast in Virginia. And my wife took a job there. And so we spent we spent 7 years or 9 years in Virginia. And when she retired, we moved to Arkansas.
Go ahead, Elsa. I know you're going to have a question. I'm sorry.
I don't know if this is a dumb question, and it probably is, but why do you guys say Arkansas but spell it so differently? Because when I read that, I do not read Arkansas. So you're confusing the foreigners.
Yeah, it's like Arkansas is
yes, that's how we read it. Wait, what?
Yeah. So
Branch,
I can't answer that question. Yes, sir.
What got you into poetry? Have you always been a writer? Has this been a hobby that turned into your job? Because you heard us talking a little before. Poetry is something that I've written poems. In school, my teachers loved my poetry, but after I graduated, I never really kept going with it. And now it's just my journal writing that I do to myself to keep me going. How has poetry been influential for you? And have you always been this type of writer?
Wow, that's two great questions, because poetry and oral storytelling has been with man since the beginning. I mean, that's how tribes and people living in caves and people living together in communal situations. That was the basis of their education and passing on their traditions, was through storytelling and myths and mythology and legends. And poetry was sort of the original literary form that man used. It came long before prose and novels and the things that we kind of think of as literature. The second thing that's interesting about poetry is every child learns to read, or most children learn to read using poetry. If you think back to your childhood and all the first books that you were exposed to, vast number of those are all rhyming kinds of situations or rhyming stories, short, real brief stories. But the rhyming gives a cadence that makes memory and learning easier. So we have all been exposed to poetry, but as we grow and as our lives become more complicated, it sort of falls to the wayside for a lot of people. At least they believe so. And they often say, well, that's something from archaic days or way back when and that kind of thing. But if you think about it, just about every song lyric is poetic in nature. Every commercial jingle, that a lot of fast food restaurants and other things are used, is all sort of cadence based. So we've been exposed to poetry as a species since our very beginning. We are still exposed to poetry, but as I say, it gets kind of put aside and we don't realize how much of it we have in our daily lives, but we're not reading poetry as such. So it's with us if we look around, but we don't notice. It's kind of, behind the veil of our reality, but it's there.
What has inspired your writing? Do you pull from past experiences, and what lessons have you learned from that?
Wow. Well, the lessons of life, I find, are common to all of us, right? We often experience them at different times of our life and at different events and different people who come into our lives, but the lessons remain pretty constant for everybody on the planet. How it's manifested and how we experience it, as I say, can take place, at age 10 or 110. You have that's undeterminable, but we all face those same lessons in life. And so what I try to do in my writing is identify those lessons that everybody has experienced, either firsthand or through friends, coworkers. We're familiar with those lessons. We see it happen in our lives every day. And so the idea is to expose the reader to a lesson that they're familiar with, but that they haven't looked at from a reflective kind of standpoint. Let me give you a quick example. If you know somebody at work who's having an affair and stepping outside of their marriage, and you're engaged with them and they're telling you the story and the reasons, it's interesting when we talk to people, everyone has an agenda and they're always trying to express themselves, to somebody else to get feedback. And all of those agendas are normally couched in trauma or drama or some kind of a situation where the teller is trying to put themselves in the best light, regardless of the situation. And as we try to grow through those kinds of situations, dealing with the fallout that those things cause. So as a storyteller, I try to take experiences that people are familiar with looking at them from an outside position and have them reflect on that theme or the fallout or the consequence of that behavior in that story and see if it applies to themselves. If it applies to themselves in whatever form or fashion, then they have a starting point for growth.
I think that's phenomenally. No, that's phenomenally said. I love it. As Stuart Lone Wolf made a great comment here, a picture paints 1,000 words, but a word can paint a myriad of pictures. I think that's very well said. And then Brian Tracy, who is a vet and he's a moderator with us and everything, but he wrote how poetry became my way of coping with what I know as PTSD. Mm-hmm. Have you noticed people have been able to connect deeper inside? Because as I read your bio, you have your own 3 R's. And I caught that. And I was curious if you could explain how the 3 R's, your 3 R's, help you be able to help with your writing and might inspire others to help them learn to look inside to write for themselves.
Wow. You had mentioned earlier that you had written some poetry when you were younger. And in my journey as a writer and as a poet, I've discovered that there are lots of people out there who have dabbled in poetry. Most of them, their first exposure to writing poetry was in their teens, because when we're in those growth years as adolescents, everything is emotional. All of our experiences, all of our peer interaction has emotion tied to it. And poetry, is a form of emotional expression. So lots of beginning poets or people who are writing poetry, dabbling in poetry, are younger in age. And it's a way for them to express those emotions of life experiences, right? And there's, again, we get away from it as we grow and as our lives become more complex and, more focused on other survival kinds of things in our lives, jobs, careers, relationships. That form of expression often falls by the wayside. But lots of people who identify with poetry are identifying with the emotions that are presented. If you look at a lot of poets or read a lot of poets, most of them, and it's been said about all writers, we write what we know, right? And what we've experienced as a writer. But most poets, especially young poets, all their poems are about me, what I've experienced or what I'm going through. And that's natural because that's what we know. So that's what we express. That becomes a little tedious after a while. You've got to be able to expand your writing as a poet so that it's not all focused, it's not all autobiographical or focused on you as the writer. So most poets write about themselves. A few poets write about other people and other things. And then there's very few poets who actually are trying to tackle the emotional and the psychological, the things that make us tick, right? Who we are, how we respond, how we behave, and more importantly, why. Why are we responding in a certain way? Why do I respond, or why am I behaving in a certain way? And you touched on it earlier in the program. We often don't know. We just react. We just respond. And what I'm trying to do as a poet and as a writer is again, take those emotions and those psychological, take the underpinning foundations of who I am as a person, not me, but the reader, who the reader as a person, and the issues that they're dealing with, either firsthand or, as I said before, as a sounding board for somebody else who's going through some experience. And the idea, again, is to make that emotional connection or that psychological connection, draw the reader in through the story, and then have them either voluntarily or involuntarily at the end of the story be focused on the issue and the consequence and what growth can come out of that. You said it earlier, and it's so right on, is you have to identify, you have to be willing to face, Ilse said, you have to be willing to face the issue or the problem. You can't grow until you can face whatever that devil is and learn to deal with it. So that's what my poetry is about, is recognizing the issue, recognizing the problem, knowing you're not the only one that's experienced that or is bedeviled by that decision. And once we discover that we can face what we don't want to face, it's often not nearly as complex or as deafening as we might think. And from that point, then we can start to grow. And for me, growth is the whole point. I mean, that's why we're here, is to learn and continuing to grow. Your intro was great because it's about trying to be a better person. And that's, where my energy as a writer is trying to help people become better people.
By using your poetry as messages, because when people read it, they resonate with it. You went to, or did you study for a pastor? Are you a pastor? Or because I see a lot of religious on the religion on your Facebook page and all that. Have you studied for a pastor, and do you use that in your material to get your message across to your listeners or your readers as well?
I'll use anything I can grab a hold of to get a point across to readers. But yes, the spiritual is very, very important to me. We are human beings, but at our core and our essence, we are spiritual beings. And spiritual awareness gives us a balance in life. And without it, life can be a struggle. You have to have some grounding, and grounding can't be in possessions and status and money and all of those kinds of world things, because it's a dog eat dog world. It's not fair. There's a lot of good, bad, and ugly in the world, and there's a lot of jealousy and envy in the world, and all of those kind of things feed on themselves, and they suck the life out of us as individuals and as people. Spirituality gives us a grounding point that provides a balance so that we can see truth in our life. Interesting thing about being spiritual or on a spiritual path and recognition of truth is, once you have truth living within you and you recognize it, then you see it evident all over the world in your everyday life. It becomes so evident. I mean, you can just look at any news channel any time of the day, and it's all about a negative agenda, control, power and money. And if that's all you know, then you buy into it and you believe all of the lies. If you are spiritually grounded, or you have spirit within you and you recognize it, then it allows you to recognize the truth. Once you recognize truth, then the fallacies of the world become self-evident, and you can't miss them. You know the lie for the lie. Whether you want to believe it at that point is a new choice, and how you want to respond to it is a new choice. But you recognize it as untrue. So you have somewhere else, that you can put your energies and go to. And that's what spirituality or spiritual connection to something greater than yourself, something outside of yourself that is greater. And you said it earlier, Ilse, it's about love and truth. That's the foundation of the God that we know. It's also the foundation of who we can become if we choose to. But that's a choice. We have to make that choice. And, most people don't want to or can't make that choice because they're consumed by the layers of living in this world that take all their attention and just suck the energy right out of them. So spirituality for me is very important. And that's why I emphasize so much of it in my selections, is that it's a grounding principle that will allow you to change your life.
I love how you phrase this, because we talk about grounding and then you use one of my favorite words, balanced, and how you have to stay balanced. I tell people all the time, your body, you're an ocean, because our body is like 80% water and all this. You are your own ocean and you can create your own waves. So you need to make sure that you're not throwing yourself off and creating waves that are unnecessary. You have to keep balance to keep it calm. And I love that you used the word grounding, because my question I wanted to go with was, when you go back and you have to go back and you read your old poetry. Have you ever gone back and read something you wrote and it just hits you between the eyes and you're like, wow, I needed to hear that right now, and it's your writing that's just being realigned and it helps reground you?
All the time, and I don't mean to sound conceited about that, but it one of the things that I try to do with my work is often throw a twist at the end so that somebody goes, wow, I didn't think of it that way, or I was going down a whole different path. And a lot of my work, and as you just said, if it's reread, especially when people have grown in their lives and they go back and read a selection that they might have read before, they can see something entirely different because their perspective is different at this point. And so, it's, oh my gosh, I didn't see that before. I didn't realize that before. And to me, that's the key. If I'm doing that, then I'm doing my job. I'm helping people recognize things that they might have missed before. So, I appreciate the comment, because I often go back and read things that I haven't. As a writer, I hope that I've grown. I hope that people who read, my original work see one thing, but they see my growth as an author and as a person, as I tackle, new situations or new subject matter. Because I don't write just about spirituality. I write about, sex, drugs, rock and roll, the whole gamut. I mean, that's all part of life. So that's we're talking about experiences. I'm trying to write about experiences again, so people will identify with the experience, with the emotion, with the psychological implication, and then be able to see their own lives in a new light, in a different way, and growth. It's all about, how do I become a better person? And I become a better person by realizing who I am, why I am, and how I respond to the people and the events in my life.
So I think I love how humble you are with that, but how vulnerable you are, because it's your writing and you have to be vulnerable to yourself. So that's a really great answer. And the reason I ask is I saw Bob have a question here that I was going to tie into it. It worked out perfectly. You've studied theology. I saw you went to Trinity. In your bio, it says you went to Trinity. Have you seen your writing change at all from when you were in Bible school to before that? And how has that influenced Branch?
Well, my first book that I wrote is a nonfiction book, and it was written for seekers of truth, searchers of truth, and fallen away Christians. On my own personal journey, I spent the first 30, 35 years of my life like lots of people, in the corporate game, um, doing all the things I thought I needed to do and could do to promote myself, to take advantage of my situation. For me, it was all about the career, all about the money, all about the possessions, and all of those things. And I got to a place where that was very unfulfilling, and I'd made some really poor choices in my life. And the consequences of those choices were pretty devastating. And I thought, I can't go on living like this. So I've got to change my life. I had been raised in a what I call Christmas C&E, Christmas and Easter household, Christian household. We went at Christmas, we went at Easter, and the rest of the time, it was out there, but we weren't involved. So I didn't have a religious background per se. So I didn't have anywhere to go when I wanted to make this transition. And so I thought, well, the one thing I do know I want in my life is more truth. So that became my quest, was to, identify truth, live truthfully, as hard as that might be. And it was difficult. It's very difficult to come from the truth oftentimes without being diplomatic about the situation. We don't want to step on toes, but we want to make our point. And so you ride this line of how truthful can I be before they slap me, because I've stepped on toes. But so my quest was for truth, and I spent 5 years in that struggle. And then from there, I went to studying Eastern religions and philosophy. And I spent the next 15 years in that phase. And I had some things happen in my life that kind of threw me off the path. And I thought, well, I've got to make a major change here. And so for the next 15 years, I was in that phase. And that's when I went to theology. I had already gotten an undergraduate degree and been to graduate school, in the process of my 20s. But this is when I was 50. And I thought I've got to go back and learn more. I had been moved to write my first book, which was this search for truth and spiritual Christianity. And so I thought, well, I've got to know more about theology. So I went back to school and, entered Bible college and did the program and studied theology for 5 years and finally got my degree. But in that time, I was sort of living it, studying it, reading about it, grappling with it. And so they were sort of symbiotic. One didn't necessarily beget the other. And so it was sort of a learning, studying, reality, realization, actualization process all at the same time. I think from my writing standpoint, when I first started writing, I wanted to reach out to the secular market and have this theme of spirituality underneath. And I was trying to, reach people where they were at and move them down the path. But the spiritual part of it wasn't the major emphasis. It was there, but I didn't try and, force it. I didn't try and put it out there for the Christian market or the searching spiritual market. And over the last 20 years, what's happened is in my own growth, I've moved through the spiritual process. And now my writing emphasis is actually on end of times, last days. And some of the things I see unfolding and coming in the future. So now virtually all of my writing is focused on the spiritual because of the importance of letting people know what's coming down the road and how important it is to get spiritually grounded. So it's been quite a journey. The spiritual part's been part of the whole thing, but it's sort of gone like this. It started out as 10%, as oh yeah, we'll put that in there too. I thought I was writing for the secular market, and what I have found is now I am writing for the secular market who realizes that life is changing and it's not necessarily changing for the better. So there's got to be another path. And so that's where my emphasis is now. And, it wasn't what I intended at the beginning, but that's how it's evolved. And now I can't do anything else because Bible prophecy, is what the end times are. Bible prophecy describes the end times. And it's not a topic that most people are familiar with. It's not a topic that most people are interested in. But the more you know about it, the more of the truth of what's about to happen in our world is revealed. And so that's the emphasis now, is to help people who are interested see that it's time to get prepared for the big changes that are coming.
I saw, now that you said that, I just want to read you something that I read. I read this on Branch's Facebook, and it just caught me. It says, why is a relationship with God important? After 6,000 years, one would have thought mankind could have made more progress towards understanding the truth relating to the Lord shares with those interested how to get along with others. So that just, what you said there, it just resonated with me so much, because I feel exactly the same, that people have not evolved. They've evolved in technology, but they have not evolved in growing their souls. They actually went backwards because they are so focused on gaining things on the outside world that they do not care about the only thing that they can take with them when you die, and it's your soul. It's the only thing that you can take with. But from that, you said about the end times and that, and I saw on your website that you kind of figure out relations. I just want to see the English word. Revelations. You are busy with working that out, the end times and that. Are you writing a book about that? Is there just that article on your page?
No, I'm not writing a book. I've written 10 series, anywhere from 6 to 10 parts in each series, about prophecy and, end times and last days and all of those kinds of things. And I'm just trying to make people aware. You hit the nail on the head, Ilse. Technology has changed drastically and keeps changing even more phenomenally daily. But man's relationship to man hasn't changed. It's reverted. We see tribalism now, in this delineation of people on all kinds of labels. And we're growing farther apart, not closer together. So that's the issue. And what our life today and what Bible prophecy previews for us is exactly what we see, this breakdown in society norms and what Bible prophecy says in the end times, good will become evil and evil will become good. And that's what we see taking place. I mean, there's so many things taking place, but what I'm trying to do is alert people to wake up, take off the blinders, and be prepared. Now, can we change things? Not really. Most of what goes on in the world is totally out of our control. The only thing that we can change is how we respond, how we behave. And so, people always ask me, well, I don't know about what the Bible says. I don't know scripture. I don't know anything about it. It's too hard to read. I don't have any background. Give me the abridged version. The abridged version is this. In Matthew 22:37, he says, love God first and most, come from your highest loving self, and treat your neighbor as yourself. Okay, on these two hang all the laws and the prophets, meaning everything in the Bible comes down to those two things. Recognize and love God and treat your neighbor the way you want to be treated. If you do those two things, everything will be right in your world. You will be a better person. Your life will be more rewarding. And the blessings of life, will be part of your existence. But we live in a world today where treating others the way that you want to be treated is the last thing on a lot of people's minds. Therein is the root of the problem. All the negative energy that people put out has to go somewhere. And it goes to all of those people who are not living a balanced life, to those people who don't have a spiritual grounding. They are perfect targets for all the trauma and all the drama and all of the problems that can't be solved by the legal system or, the congressional system, the government system. We live in tough times. I mean, really tough times. And people are oblivious to the things that they're suffering and what's being done to them. And, so I'm trying to show people, readers who are interested, that this is what the Bible says. Look, there are 1,817 prophecies in the Bible. There's still about 500 that haven't come to pass, but the other 1,300 have already happened, and not one of them has been proven wrong. So it's a pretty good record to put some faith in what may be coming. And so what I'm trying to do with my writing about the end times is say, these are some things that the Bible says are indicative of the last days of the end times. This is what you're going to see unfold. And when you see it happen, you're going to know that the time is getting close. If you realize that time is getting close, then the question becomes, okay, well, so what am I supposed to do? My answer is, you're supposed to get spiritually grounded now. You're supposed to develop and initiate a relationship with God so that He will show you the truth of your life, and He will show you how to sidestep many of the problems that are going to be happening all around the world. And we see it every day. Look at climate change. How much has climate changed in the last 10 or 20 years? How many more storms do we have? How severe are they? How much damage is happening? We literally have climate change issues every day of the year somewhere in the world. Flooding, storms, tornadoes, hurricanes, whatever it may be. And all of these things are part of Bible prophecy. So you can look outside your window and see it coming to pass. There's things in the political world. There's things in the geopolitical world. There's things in human relations that are all part of these warnings for people. And the warning is twofold. It's first to alert people that troubled times are ahead. But more importantly, it's to allow people to see how to sidestep those problems, how to be prepared, and how to not let those things make you crazy or suck the life out of you. You can't change climate change, but you can respond to it in certain ways. And if you know what's going to happen and you see it unfold, then it's not as frightening. It's not as scary because you've already been warned as to what is going to happen. I mean, this volcano in La Palma, if it continues the way it is, you can go look on YouTube. There have been some geophysics predictions that volcano may in fact cause a landslide that precipitates a tsunami. And this was, 10 and 15 years ago, the geologists predicted that this could happen. Well, today that volcano is erupting and not stopping. So, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a tsunami out of that. We may not, but if we do, we've had the warning. It's time to pay attention. So I'm just trying to get people to take off the blinders, become a better person in your life. How do you do that? You get spiritually grounded. You get a relationship with something outside of yourself that has your best interest at heart. For Christians, that's a relationship with God through Christ. For Muslims, it's a relationship with God also, but through Muhammad. We have to become more aware of our life and our environment so we can become better people. I don't know anybody who's not concerned about protecting their family. Well, you need to protect your family against things that are happening, both afar and near.
So I want to actually, I have 3 other questions that have nothing to do with what we're saying because I found them on your website. Like my first one was going to be all about the erotica section of your book and how like just the spiritual aspect of it, because the one that caught me that is one of your books is The Orgy of Words. And I thought that was like the most unique title because it grabs you. And I wanted to ask about that, but I honestly, I have another question with it because that was just one that caught me. I wanted to know how people could start writing to themselves with poetry and where you recommend them starting that. Because with all the, like you said, the negatives that are coming in and all these other things, how can people start to look in and get grounded? Like, how do you recommend that? Because the erotica one was a fun thing, but I'm curious about that book, and it was meant for a laugh, but I'd rather know about the fact that I tell people to be grounded. You have to stay balanced, but hearing it from other people all the time, or hearing it from other people is essential. Can you explain how Branch stays grounded and where somebody could start to see that they need to be grounded? Sorry, Branch. I'm putting you through it today, buddy. I'm sorry.
Let me take the second part first. I believe the easiest way for somebody to start is to keep a journal, okay, or a diary, because that's where you can express yourself to yourself without any interference or any prying eyes. So you keep a journal and you just write whatever comes to mind, whatever's in your heart, whatever moves you. And as you write down those things that are important to you, it allows you to open up to yourself. When we open up to ourselves, it allows us to look at things we might not want to look at. Okay? Now, journaling is going to possibly bring up a lot of things that might be disturbing. But the fact is, A, it's in the past. B, you got through it. And C, now it's time to use it to grow through it. If you're in that situation of where you've been abused or mistreated, the hardest thing to do, and yet the key to overcoming that, is forgiveness. You have to be able to forgive the person or the people who perpetrated that trauma and drama through the experiences that you went through. And, you know, that's what professional help was all about. But you can do it, you can start it on your own. But you have to face, you know, what it is that the issue is. What's holding you back? You know, the reason people don't grow is because they're mired in their insecurities. I'm too short. I'm too fat. I'm too bald. You know, I'm not this. I'm not rich. I'm all these things that are bad. I'm none of the things that are good. Well, everybody has struggles, right? You've got to grow through the insecurities. You've got to know that you're not alone. You've got to know that you're not the only one who was, you know, experienced that or abused that way. The only way you can let go of those insecurities is through forgiveness. And that's a very difficult process. It's a process that you can go through. And there's 7 steps to that process. And maybe we'll talk about that some other time. But you've got to come to a place where you're okay, it's in the past, and you can forgive the person who perpetrated it. And once you forgive them, you can let it go. And you can move on, and it does become in the past. And that's a big order, but that's the key, is to be able to forgive, you know, what you experienced and the people who did it to you. Doesn't mean you have to love them, or doesn't mean you have to ever see them again or talk to them. You have to let go of the hurt and the pain. And the easiest way to do that is to understand that they are just who they were, or they are just who they still are. And that's their stuff to deal with. And it's probably goes back to their childhood. So you start journaling, you start to get those feelings out on paper so that you can grapple with them and handle them. They're going to bring up experiences and people, and you have to face those and move on, get them out of your life if they're still in your life, and then at some point forgive and move on. So journaling is the first step. Poetry is just an expression of journaling. You know, it's just a form. A little more literary, compact form. The reason I love poetry is it allows you to tell a complete story with a beginning, a middle, and an end in as brief and concise expression as possible, as few words as possible. And I think the reason, you know, a lot of my readers stay with me and keep reading is it doesn't take a lot of time. I have lots of people who it's part of their commute, you know, on mass transit, because they can sit on the bus or the train and they can read 2 or 3 of my short stories, my poetry stories, you know, and have something to think about and dwell on and grapple with. And then they're done. It's not like they, you know, I got to stop in the middle of the chapter kind of thing. So the brevity of my selections really works well. I'm also trying to really, you know, poke and prod a little bit so it gets them thinking. And I don't want them to be, you know, on to page 410 and still trying to figure out what the heck's going on. Okay,
What is your sorry?
Go ahead. No.
What is your favorite poem to read to people or to show people when they wanna know what your work is about? Which is the one that you brag about? Which is the one that you say, this is the one that you have to read, the first one?
That is literally my next question. I love you, Ilse.
Oh, wow. God, that's such a difficult question to answer. Well, how about this one? This is short. The title is Wedlock. Okay. Says it all.
You said wedlock, correct?
Wedlock is the title.
Wedlock.
Right.
Wedlock.
And the poem is Says It All.
Says it all. Oh, sorry, there was a little bit of, because I want to go read some poetry. You're on your YouTube channel as well. Do you read all your poems? Can any poet come and approach you to be on there, or how does your channel work? Is it
Uh-oh.
me? Oh,
I
it's
think he
not me.
froze, Ilse. Can you
Okay,
hear
I
me?
thought it was me. I thought maybe mine froze again, and then everybody's gonna laugh because it always gets stuck in a funny face or something. Because I just
No, I pulled up his YouTube thing because I was curious the same thing. And my question was going to be about his open mic poems. It's his thought of the day in an open mic poem. I was very curious about that. So I love that you asked that. Guys, do not forget to go hit subscribe on his. Branch does a poem and posts something every single day. And he's doing the same thing we do with positivity and uplifting. So being able to connect with him, I think he lost signal completely, is a special thing. But like getting a positive message, and none of them were that long. I'll bring this back in here, make that the full screen really quick, and he should be back in a second. But this one's only 3 minutes, and this was posted September 11th. This one was posted not even a month ago, and it is 1 minute and 57 seconds long, 2 minutes and 20 seconds long. And he has others that are longer, but you see that these are very quick, open poems meant to hit you in the heart. That I like how he does this because it's very unique and it's very, let me bring positivity. And that's what we're about here. So for Branch, I wanted to make sure that we bring that positive. We wanted to make sure we bring that energy there. And his internet apparently went out. And Brian, it's good to see you here, buddy. Feelings, what are those? Nothing. Cut them out.
You don't need those. They're like
right?
added extra. You don't need.
Right. And then I also like that Brock actually brought a very interesting thing to me. And without going down a theological debate, he mentioned that there was 1,807 prophecies that have been said in the Bible, yet 1,300 of them have come true. I only have feelings, and you can't hurt them. Hurt it. I love it. That's funny. Thanks, Brian. But like, I'm very curious. I want to look that up because I have a theology degree, and I look at this, and the questions that I have in my head for myself are in that. Like, okay, where are these? What other prophecies, maybe that aren't biblically, maybe they are in the Quran, maybe they are in the Torah, maybe they are in these other things. Are they in there too? And how are they aligning? Because if it is there, I'm not saying this is end days. I'm not saying this is end games. I'm saying that this is something that no matter how we look at it, we can have a disagreement, but have an open conversation. And with his comment about the having 1,800 different prophecies, it made me want to go look at my Bible. And I have at least 11 Bibles, maybe 12. And that's just because people have, growing up, I've always gotten them and I didn't want to get rid of them. But I also read a lot of other theological areas and looked into other religions. And I'm curious how they align with each other. And whether you're Christian, whether you're Catholic, whether you're, hey, Kev, whether you're an individual that is just completely wanting to just understand who they are, you might not connect to one religion over another. And it's about knowing who you are and having that love. And that's where we are. And apparently he is done with us. Like, he is not coming back. Branch is like, I heard that joke Brandon made earlier in the show. I'm not coming back because minute he said he loved what we were doing, my heart dropped. I'm like, son of a bitch, he's been listening in and he heard my bad joke. Crap. I'm like, I failed miserably. And yes,
don't worry, we all have bad jokes.
I am the king of bad jokes. So we only have a few minutes left. When Branch comes back, if he comes back, I will bring him back in. Ilse, let's dive into just a quick update on a few things. First off, I think this is a phenomenally said. Religion does suck because we all pick our own things. I appreciate Stuart and Brian respecting each other because they have a different point of view on things, and they still agree not to offend each other. So, guys, that's what I like. Don't attack somebody just because they might not believe what you believe. have the understanding that both sides can have a conversation and can find the best outcome. Kevin, I love you, bro. You are such an amazing guy. Kevin, I was on a podcast yesterday that made me think of you. We literally are. I was on this podcast called the Mental Health Happy Hour, MHHH. Okay, and they focus on how their mental health is essential, and one of them is severe bipolar, and the other one has autism. The hosts. And for me, I thought this was an amazing show. They've already asked me to come back. I shared it on my LinkedIn, but it's such a unique connection with people, and they bring it in such a amazing way. And I love that people are coming out and wanting to have these conversations. I did get a message from the host of our show this evening. We have the show. Where is it? It is Victor Tango has tonight. Our host, Dave, actually is not going to be able to make it till 8 p.m. So, ladies and gentlemen, please know that tonight's show has been moved back to 8 p.m. Dave is having on a few guests, and he will be bringing on he's going to be bringing on a bunch of veterans today, and they're going to have a very interesting talk about veterans and suicide and the VA and how to help one another, because that is what Dave does. It's truly one worth tuning into. It's one of our you want to go with me like this, Brian? Here we go. I agree with that statement, unless you're talking about football and hockey. If you like the Browns, you're just dumb. Break my heart. Guess what? The Browns are going to Ilse, you picked that you are now a Steelers fan just because of yesterday's guest, and you have to go the opposite of me. All right, that's fine. There has to be. That way we have some debate going on. I gave her.
We don't fight in real life. We fight in sports. We don't fight.
There we go. And you know what? I if you like the Browns, you're dumb. I'll take it. But when you see my Browns and you're watching the Super Bowl and they're one of the last two teams to watch, you heard it here first. All of your friends need to know about that. Makes you know that the Browns are going to. I'm prophesying it. The Browns are going to the Super Bowl, so it might be dumb, but you're going to be watching us. Now, I want to make sure Victor Tango tonight, instead of 6 p.m., it will be 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, EDT. It will also be
what's that? 2 o'clock this morning. 2 o'clock.
2 a.m. So you're not going to be watching it. You're going to be.
You said the same yesterday. My sleep patterns are horrific, so I'll see you there.
Yes. And I love how you both agree with each other on this. God is mysterious, and whatever gives you your best life is the only way that truly matters. And you both agree on this. That is what I love about our network. You can have a polar opposite view, from religion to politics to all these different things, and then still understand that maybe we're just not going to agree. And you both did it in less than 10 messages. I respect the hell out of both of you guys, because that was awesome to watch. Mandy Atterbury.
I've also got an opinion. Sorry.
You don't get one. No, I just want to tell Mandy that I wanted to tell Mandy how amazing she is, and I know you're going through it right now. Do not look at the negative. See what's going to come out of it that might be positive, and it might be fucking hard as hell to find, but there are going to be positives in your life right now. There are going to
moving you to something greater. You're holding on to the past. If sometimes we have to lose things to gain something else. So stop holding on so tightly and just let it go. Just let it go. Breathe. You'll be.
What's your opinion? Because I'm about to go off on Brian.
Okay, so my opinion is that nobody's wrong and nobody's right about religion. Nobody's wrong and nobody's right. Nobody's wrong because everybody sees everything from a different perspective. Yes, you agree on some things with this person, and then you agree on some things with that person. You're either a good person or you're a bad person. It doesn't matter who you pray to, if you do pray, if you do meditate, if you do this. It's all about the legacy and how you treat people. Are you living in your truth and helping people and showing them what love is? Or are you just Bringing in
are
the
you
3D and not worrying about anybody's soul, because it's the only thing that you can take with you. Your legacy, how you treat people, and your soul. So look after your soul.
first off, if the Browns go to the bowl game, it'll be the Waste Management Bowl, and then all of a sudden, Brian Tracy, Brown Waste Management is the name of my new fertilizer company. And what's going to come out of it is that I will be homeless. I'm not holding on to the past. And you're not holding on to the past. You're getting thrown into a situation that absolutely is atrocious, Mandy. I want to be able to help you, and I don't know how right now. So all I could say is know that don't keep saying, I'm going to be homeless, I'm going to be homeless, I'm going to be homeless, because that's the negative. Even though that's what it looks like right now. When I look in this screen and I see myself, what I see is somebody who needed a lot of work, who needed to start changing who he was here, and here, because my stomach, and knowing that I can go to a better place. But the hardest thing for me was that mindset, and I literally do it daily. And when I write to myself and I see that I put myself in negative mindsets without even knowing it while writing it, it took me asking for help from somebody else to be able to get to that. So guys, that's so fucking hard. Don't think you're going to be the only one. And know, Mandy, that we do not want to see you suffer. We don't want to see you in pain. We want to see you be able to get stronger. And as Brian said, even though his comments are now going to be deleted because of the fact that he wants to make fun of my Browns, not really. But gold is refined in fire, Mandy. God gives us trials to make us better. It might not be what you're thinking right now. It might not be what you're hoping for. And it might not be your dream of what you want. But guess what? Stay positive. Find little things that are not going to bring you down. Do not use that word. This H word is not allowed. You are not allowed to say that, because then you're prophesying.
You're getting a new place to live. You're going to a new home.
You might lose your...
Yes. I'm going to a new home. You're not losing anything.
I agree. All right, take us out, Ilse. Give us your final goodbyes, and everybody a positive message.
It's Thursday, and this week has been gone so fast. I just want to say, first of all, to everybody that was on last night's 8 show, you guys brought it. It was really a very, very empowering and empowering episode to watch, to see what Miss Carly is doing after what happened in her life. And she's inspired, I think, a lot of people, but me, to just stand in my truth and say how I feel, and just arrive, or just standing up for the little people, the ones that think they don't have anybody. You are not alone. Reach out and just stay strong. When things happen in our life, we tend to always feel like, what have I done wrong? Maybe you should ask the question, what have I done right? Maybe you have asked for something better in your life and you have forgotten that you asked for it. And right now the universe is moving you to that greater purpose. But because you are holding on to not holding on to the past, but holding on to that I am not worthy and things are just falling apart, maybe they're falling together. So be positive and just know that you are not alone. I pulled 2 cards. I think we've had this one before, but somewhere someone needs to hear it again. That's why it fell out. It is volumize your vocabulary. And it says, what you say and how you say it creates a lasting impression on all who hear you. Expand your vocabulary and you will increase your impact. It's a message for someone. You guys, use your voices, use your talents, use that to create love and to speak things into existence as God spoke the world into existence. I mean, the Bible starts with that. God speaks the world into existence. So if God speaks the world into existence, you speak your own world into existence by what's coming out of your mouth. Make sure it is uplifting. Make sure it's positive. Make sure your self-talk is positive. That's where it starts. And then I got this card. It says create can-do kids. And I don't think it's just for kids. I think it's for adults as well. So it says don't impose your thoughts of lack and limitation on your children. And I'm going to add here, and yourself. When you think your children can, they will think they can. When you erase your own doubt in your child's ability, your child will face each challenge with confidence and a can do attitude. But this goes for yourself as well. If you change your self talk from I can't to I am going to, you will take the limitations you put on yourself and you will turn them into positives, and you will change your own life.
Hit the wrong button. Sorry. And from me, it's Thursday. It's October 7th. And while, yes, technical difficulties happen now and then, and yes, life throws sometimes the unbelievable, most shitty situations at you, it's about noticing the little things. I could tell a story about when I was almost homeless, and I walked in on my wife having an affair. I lost my foster child. There was a whole bunch, and it was all on lies. And I thought my whole life was going to just crash down. And it did. And when I went to go get help and check myself in, all the doctors did was kept prescribing me medicines, kept pushing me to go do what they said was what I needed. None of it was healthy. It was just pills upon pills. I say that because 10 years later, after all that, when I went to jail and I was in a situation that I just saw my world crashing and I thought I was going to be homeless, broken, and not have a future, I look where I'm at now, and I've learned to find little things, from something as simple as pulling into a parking spot and saying, thank you for getting me a close parking spot, to looking in my bank and seeing, wow, somebody I didn't know, like, ordered a box of delight, to looking at what I've been working on and seeing the growth of people around you, and hearing the people say, hey, I just want you to know this made, we should chat, Brian. Don't hesitate to message me on Facebook, brother. And you have to be able to take a moment, and if all you ever see is the negatives, you're going to keep following them. It's the moment you choose to say, I'm fucking done. I do not care that all this shit is happening, because I have food in the kitchen, I have a roof over my head, I have a fan to keep me cool, and I know I'm going to be okay. And the truth is, it's hard as hell. But together, we're able to make a difference. Look in the mirror and don't listen to anybody else. Throw your phone down, oh yeah, that's right, Brian. I need to ask for Dave for your number. Dave will be on tonight. You better be watching Victor Tango tonight, guys. 8 p.m., not 6 p.m. EDT. Make sure you tune in. Brian's going to be like chatting me up, talking Browns. By the way, what a good game this last Sunday was. I'm sorry, that distracted. So, guys, do a minute today. 1 minute. That's it. 1 fucking minute for you. I want you to take 1 minute and just look in the mirror and find something in you that is so different that it makes you you. And love the person you are. Coming from me, I 100% know how broken I can be. And I know I'm my own worst enemy. But I'm done with that shit. And we're moving on to the next level. Let's level up together. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for finding your best use. And do me a favor, go like, comment, share. We're at 350 subscribers right now. My goal is 400 by the end of this month and 500 by the end of the year. People could tell us we're crazy for that, but you guys see what we're doing together. Help us by spreading it. Go share the links, share the community, and make sure we get the people that we know want to change the fucking world together. We're doing it. Thank you guys. Have a great, great day.